What's up, people? How's everybody doing today? It is a hopefully a happy Monday for everybody. Um, been kind of crazy windy here, but yes, Nate, I know. It's just I'm not going to be on here forever today. I want to get through some stuff that I wanted to talk about and then be done, and that's it. So I'm gonna make it quick. Temporarily minus Nate. But Nate will be back the next time. I'm just gonna run through this quick today because I don't want to be here forever. I was off today, but I gotta go back to work tomorrow, which means I gotta get up crazy early, which means I want to go to bed a little early today. So, because I'm an old dude. Anyway, what's up, people? How's everybody doing? Um, Thanks to those of you that ever stopped by the premiere. But let me shout out the people that are here. David Martin Graff, thank you for being a member, my friend, and hello to you, Paul Ballard. Had it not been for a holiday today, your stuff would have been in the mail, but now it has to wait. Um, Big Chris, what's up? Charles McDaniel, what's up? Mr. Mike Bird, all the way over in the UK, what is happening? Jack78, Mr. Andy Cho, EQRC, Snow Valley Park, what's up? Victor Shamulus, Mr. RC EDF Jets, what's up? Mr. Nate Calgal, Lionel Randall, George Watts, another one of my members, what's happening? John DHRC, haven't talked to you in a while, man. What is happening with you? Alan Gentry, yes, it's about 40 to 50 here as well. We've had quite a bit of wind today, but it's supposed to chill out over the next couple of days, hopefully. As I've been telling other people, I've noticed that there is all the trees have started changing. Um, Normally, over the last couple of years, the trees haven't started changing until later in the fall, like somewhere around November, before they really start changing. But things have started to change pretty early here. September, I started seeing trees change, so we're going to have some rain and other weather this year, most likely. But that's what's happening. So Alan Gentry, once the weather starts to get a little cooler down there, you'll see me out there. David Martin Graff, China Hobbyline batteries. Most of my batteries are from them. Um, so, um, so yeah. So let's get see if anybody has any questions. And as you notice there in my little ticker there at the bottom, if you ever decide you would like to give a super chat or donate, very much appreciated. There is still Gooniac merch too if you guys are interested in supporting the channel in other ways. You can do that as well. And the weather's getting cooler, so sweatshirts and other stuff would be cool. But let's get to questions. And again, it's going to scroll down the bottom if y'all want to know how to do that. So, who's got questions? Anybody got questions? Anybody? I know Jelonius said he was going to ask some stuff, but I don't see him here yet. Paul Ballard, we've pretty much had a drought here too, so that could be the same deal. But usually, just in the whole 46 years I've lived in this area, um, when the trees change early, that usually means rain's coming. Ticker's blurry. That's no good. Um, it's also in my the description too, if you want to see that. It's in the description. Um, if the ticker's blurry, you can also update your change your quality. But anyway, something to look at. Who else? So John VHRC, what's it like up there in the Pacific Northwest? You guys starting to get some colder weather yet? The Fred Barron, what is happening? Probably one of my oldest subscribers. Been on this. I have videos that are almost 10 years old that he's actually commented on. So thanks for being here again, Mr. Fred Barron. Big Chris, I did get your message. Haven't seen the video yet, but chances are, if it rolled one way at low speed, he had too much elevator throw. Anyway, Mike Bird, thank you, my friend. Is that you, Izzy? Oh, that's you. My cat's making all this crazy noise. Mike Bird, thank you very much. Very much appreciated. My cat's running around like an idiot. But thank you, my friend. Very much appreciated. Rain the rest of the week in Seattle. Yeah, and chances are you're probably gonna, whatever you get up there is gonna make its way down here. So again, ask questions before I get started on what I was gonna show y'all, because the last couple months have been kind of hard on my equipment and all. I did some forensic work yesterday on some of my stuff. The funny thing is, both the planes that crashed use the same motor. But anyway, we'll get to that later. What's up, David Snyder? I know it's late out there on your end, but howdy. And also, guys, this was this last weekend was Fleet Week here in the Bay Area, which is when they have a little air show over the San Francisco Bay. So thankfully, where I am, we get lots of flyovers from planes that are stationed, that are going to be staged here at Moffett for the air show. So I'm going to have a video coming up from the last couple months worth of that stuff happening. But this last week I got some cool stuff. P8 Poseidon, P3, seeing the two of those together, that's the last time it's going to happen, because the P3 is getting phased out. But then I got some T6 Texan 2s, the new ones. I got a little video and pictures of those. C-17 doing some cool stuff. So it's been a good week for full scale aviation. So so that's a good question. Let me get back to that, Mr. David Martin Graff. You asked a good question and I missed it. Is there a good way to keep the Lemon RX from oscillating? I need to find you. There it is. Okay, so it depends on what it's doing. If you see the plane doing this as you're flying, that means that one of two things: your gain is too high, or your receiver itself is loose. Usually it's just your gain is a little too high, so figure out which way it's oscillating and then lower the gain accordingly. That could be part of it. But a lot of times people don't have their receiver secured really well, and that makes the thing wiggle. That's a good question too, Angelo. Not Paul, this one. Does an ADAS setup produce much more power? Depends on what you're considering power. In terms of watts, yes, it does make more, simply because of the voltage being higher. In terms of thrust, yes, it can, but not always. It's going to be a more efficient way of making thrust, because usually when you go up in voltage, you go down in amperage. And when you have less amps, that means it's going to be more efficient. But power, it depends on what you're considering power. If you're considering thrust to be power, for the most part, yes, 8S can be more powerful than 6S. There are some 6S setups that I have that make more thrust, but use more amps. So it just depends. In general, 8S setups are going to be more efficient electronically because they're going to pull less amps. So to get watts, it's voltage times amps, and that gives you the watts. So to get higher, the higher your wattage is, and off of voltage is better than amperage. So it's good to. A lot of times people go to 8S because it just makes more sense. Same thing with 4S to 6S. So if you go to 6S, you are going to have more usable power with 6S than you are with 4. Same thing for 8S versus 6S. Same sort of deal. And there's another good question from Mr. Mike Bird. Yes. I haven't personally used it, but I've seen a friend at the field who's now in college at Virginia Tech. I've seen him use that same fan, and it's pretty dang good. He used it in the Hawk, and I have 2 of them on the way. Should be here in a couple days, but and then I'll be able to test it in something and see. I planned on getting another F16 80 millimeter eventually. Actually, I've got a couple cool things. A couple new things coming. I have some more stuff coming from XFly as well, but I have to figure out how to make that work. There's another good question. I'm liking the questions today. You know how much faster the F22 is than the F35? I don't think that they're much faster at all. I think they're probably about the same speed. The F35 is smaller, so it's a little bit harder to handle. But it's probably about the same speed as the F22, you know, stock for stock. Now, if you're talking full scale to full scale, I don't know. If you're talking about, full scale, the F22 is. If you're talking RC, I'm talking about the RC. That's the one I'm referring to because I don't know anything about the full scale. I know that the full scale F22 can super cruise, and is a much cleaner design than the F35. But they're both very capable platforms. So let's see what else. So, anything else before I get started on a little bit that I was going to show y'all? Whoa, the Fred Barron. Thank you, my friend. Dropping me another super chat. Thank you very much, my friend. Much appreciated. Cool. Thanks, Charles. That's cool too because I've actually been working on some stuff for the warbirds. Because people have been asking me about making some sort of LED setup for the exhaust stacks, and I have been working on it. When it comes time to test, I'll let you guys know. I'll put some online, and I'll see if Nate wants to try some on his. And I haven't changed fields. It's just the people I fly at a lot of different fields. People that I fly with had been flying where we were flying because they had normally flown at Tomcats, which is where you see me flying now. I'm going to go there on occasion, but I'm not going to go there very often. I still plan to go to a couple other places. But Charles McDaniel, I'll take a look at that video here in a minute. Let me open it, and I'll set it aside. Let me get that video up. I'll set it off to the side, but I have some other stuff to show you guys too. Cool. Glad to hear it, Paul. And you've got more coming. Like I said, it would have been shipped, but it's a holiday today and everything's closed. Thankfully, I was still able to print out labels and such, but I'm saying, okay, so Charles McDaniel, let me pull this video up. And I've got a couple other things to show you guys too, but let me look at the video first. Nice. That looks good. So let me pull this up. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but you can at least see it. Give me a second. I'm gonna put the link up. Open up screen. So it's gonna look kind of weird for a second. All right, gonna look weird for a second. But here's this is Charles McDaniel. You may not be able to hear it, but you can at least see it. Check out the guns. This is his nice. That's pretty plain. Nice. Cool. So that looks good, guys. That's cool. So get out of there. But I plan to do something cool. I've done something like that. I had a plane, but it had the little transducer sound and all that stuff too. So that you actually sounded like machine guns. I had it on a switch. It's pretty cool. But cool, good stuff, Charles McDaniel. I like it. You know, I'm very partial to red tails. I've got one of my own, but plan on doing that with the exhaust stack. So it's not going to be red. It should be more of a flame color. But we'll work on that here pretty soon. So let's just get on to some other stuff. I don't see a whole lot of other questions, but another thing I wanted to show you guys, we're going to do a screen share again. I'll show you guys the website. I went through the website and added some things for the wife. The wife actually added some things for me, so you guys can see here. But everybody's always asking, how do I order? How do I order? It's, you know, I figured that it would be pretty straightforward, but just in case it's not, there's a little thing here to click that. That's to contact me if you wanted to ask any questions, or you just scroll down, or up here at the top it says how to order. Click that and it will take you down just a little bit, and it tells you how do I order, and it goes through all of the basic questions that most people would ask. It goes through and ask you all, basically all the questions people ask me are there. So it tells you how to order, tells you how to do that, and then it tells you about how long it takes to order, and then how important it is to have your shipping address included in that payment once you do get it. But everything you need to know is there, right there in the beginning, so it's not hard to figure out. So you just scroll down a little bit and then it asks, and that's it. If you have any questions about the burners, fill out that contact me form, or right up here at the top, click that. That takes it all the way down to the contact me, order and message, so that you can, and there's even my email there if you want to go to that instead. You can just click my email and go directly there if you want to. It's pretty simple, but it's an informational site. It's meant to be a little vague because I don't want people to think that they're just locked into certain things. I do customs, and I do have pretty much everything out there. So take a look. I can put that up in banners, and you can see what people. So let's see. So my website, that is the website. I even have it in my description. You can click the description in there and you can see the website. Um, Basically, everything you need to know is at the top there. So do that. So I can see what the all right. So Mickey BRC, what is happening? Hangar 51, Mr. Kenny. What's happening? So anything else before I get started, y'all? I'm not gonna stay on here forever, but I do have some work to do on this bird here. This is my free wing 90mm F22. I need to go through and rewire it because I have some sketchy Y connectors that are making the thing jitter when it's not supposed to. I haven't posted that video yet, but I have a video to post of it doing some weird stuff. Thank you, Michael Wright. So I figured that it was pretty easy too, but they still get a lot of questions, and some people have been kind of mad when they ask me questions too. Hangar 51, I just sent out the ones to the paying customers. I will send one out to you hopefully this week. I have the postage and everything made already. I just haven't sent it yet. I want to make sure to get all the stuff sent to the people that need it. See, there's your stuff right there. So it will be sent, but I've got all that stuff. And yes, EQ, I have the 80 in the F8 in the F35. Mike Bird, the 90mm Viper is one of the best flying planes I've ever flown. That should say something. Thing flies amazing. And out of the box, I didn't have to change anything. I don't plan on changing anything with that. What's up, Tim Justins? I don't plan on changing anything on that plane. It is absolutely perfect. Out of the box, box stock. But yeah, it is pretty dang awesome. So those of you that have been following what I've been posting, I had a couple crashes over the last few months. The first one was my F-16, and that was totally my fault. I was using the wrong equipment, using something from the original FMS Hawk, and I didn't realize that they had an ESC that was locked down that you couldn't change any settings, and everything was set too high. So I was flying my F-16. I had it to where I knew after 3 minutes I needed to land because I was using an X-Fly unit, which is right here. This very unit I was using. And once I got to about 3 minutes, even though there was still plenty of battery left, the settings had dictated what the plane was going to do. And it would go into soft cut and not let me get out of it. And I couldn't keep the plane in the air and I'd have to land. I knew this, and then I thought I'd made changes to the ESC. And rather than come in at 2 minutes, at 3 minutes and check everything on the ground, I kept flying. Thing cut out on me in the air. I zigged when I should have zagged. Crunch. Plane was destroyed. So, again, not the plane or anything else. It was totally my fault. So, yanked the stuff out of there. The fan was still good. So I took it out and put it into my Mig-21, which had the old original FMS 2000 kV, the older 2000 kV setup. It worked well on that plane. It was still a little eh. So I got this exact same one that was in the F-16, the new X-Fly 2200 kV, and put it in the MiG. And holy crap, MiG went nuts. The MiG was nuts in a good way. I mean, it just flew like a freaking bat out of hell. I could take off, go crazy, and it flew that way for a couple weeks. a couple weekends. Yeah, 2 weekends. And this one flight I was flying with Nate, flying like a complete idiot, full throttle almost the whole flight, and then was getting ready to land and started doing some crazy stuff with the throttle. Next thing you know, the motor just stopped. What the heck? And it was at the worst possible time because the nose was up and I was just starting to do a turn to come into land, and I could not get the motor to come back, and tried to clear a fence instead of putting up the gear and just landing in the weeds, and the plane hit a barbed wire fence. And upon, like, the burner was still working, everything was still seemed to be working, it just, the motor wouldn't come on, and when the motor did come on, it was making a weird noise. So right off the bat I thought, crap, that red brick ESC finally gave out. And that's what we thought it was, because we smelled something burning. We thought that's what it was. But upon pulling everything apart, I don't know if you guys can see this. Notice how this is droopy. To turn it that way, you can see it. It's droopy. Why? Because it got hot and melted. Because this motor burned out. You see how it's stopping? Because it's phased on the inside. The motor is no good. Burned up. So all this is all heated up. It melted the PLA. It didn't break it, but it melted it. So this is after it hit the fence. It bent it all down. So went through and took all the stuff apart. The plane is in pieces. It's thrown away because it was, I mean, I probably could have fixed it, but I didn't feel like it. I took out the important parts. I'd had the plane since 2016, but the burner still works. That's a testament to how well these work, because this thing was piping hot. If you can see the PLA all deformed and strange here, but that still works just fine. But this burned out. Let me get back to the chat here. See what y'all talk about. Mike Bird, I've seen people fly the Viper with anything from a 4500 up to a 6500. I fly mine. I'm happiest with the 6S30C 6200 G Plus battery from China Hobbyline. That thing flies awesome. But anywhere from 4500 to 6500. Actually, 7000 would probably work in there too. I've even seen people put two 4500s together and two 5000s together in parallel, and the plane still flew. But I would recommend anywhere from 5000 to 6500. 6000 is probably your best all around. I prefer the 6200. It just works better for me. But again, X-Fly died. And I don't know. I'm hoping, I have two other planes with X-Flies in it. I'm hoping that they don't do the same thing. Thing that was freaking everybody out, everybody's seen the equipment that I use. This is the receiver is working fine. It never died. It was a Lemon RX. Oops, sorry. Lemon RX 10 channel with satellite. These are some of the most reliable receivers on the market right now. The older 10 channels with the 2-wire satellite and single wire on the main receiver, and there's a failsafe in here too. But at first we thought that, because I use a red brick 200 amp ESC. Yes, it's overkill, way more than the plane needs, but it's only $42 is what they cost. And I have several, and I've even had some that have pulled over 200 amps with no issues. So I use red bricks whenever I can, whenever it allows, the weight allows. But they are a little heavy. Not crazy heavy, but a little bit. Anyway. So all this stuff is still good. Don't mind all the wires. Was a test bed for my burners. Have a UVEC here at 12 volts that I used instead of running off the balance lead. But the main thing with this, it burned it up. This should not spin that freely. There should be cogging, but it is totally burned out. There's no anything, so everything's gone internally. Either it's been demagnetized or something fried because it stunk. It doesn't smell now, but it did the day of. So anyway. So we've got more stuff coming. So on that note, I have the new FMS. They call it the Ultimate 80 millimeter, which is a 36 millimeter motor, 2000 kV, updated housing and rotor. Excuse me. Updating housing and rotor, so it should be pretty good. So that's out of the way. Yeah, Mike Bird, that 5,000 will work. Either the 4,000 or 5,000 will work, but I'd put the 5,000 just to give you the most flight time. If you do have a 6,000, that's even better. I flew one flight with the 6,000 65C, and then another flight with the 30C 6200. I couldn't tell much of a difference. I did get much more flight time with the 30C. Under load, the 30C is going to drop voltage a little bit more. But since it's not dumping all the power it has, all those amps, it's going to last a little bit longer. So I don't want to go forever. I see we're already gone longer than I wanted to. But another thing to think of too, guys, I've got something new from XFly coming that I wanted to try, something that no one has done yet. So I'm going to be getting a bird that no one has tried, and put some different motors and see how it works out. Mike Bird, the only downside to the Viper is that it has a tendency to snap if you get too slow. Just don't go too slow. And always keep the nose down, always keep the speed up, always keep the power on a little bit. You don't really need flaps to land the plane, but if you don't use flaps, she'll end up sailing past you. But you just have to remember, keep the power up just a little bit. But yeah, I've got some new stuff coming. It's for a plane that's already on the market, but it's a configuration that nobody's tried yet. So I want to get it started, and then I'll be able to share a little bit more once it comes in. But is there anything else anybody wanted to talk about before we hold on a second, I'm getting stuff in my throat. Hold on. Maybe it's just from talking too dang much, but I've got stuff in my throat. Anyway, anything else anybody wants to talk about before we get going? Because I didn't want to be on here for way too long. Big Chris, I tried XFly motors. They're not a go-to. I ended up telling everybody about them because they worked good for me. And this is the first failure I've had with an XFly, but I still have 2 other planes with them in it already. Unless I start having failures on those, I'm still going to recommend them. Because like I said, with my F-18, my Freewing, not my Freewing, my E-Flight F-18, that plane's never been better. And maybe it'll be the same with the Ultimate the ultimate free wing. I mean, ultimate FMS setup too. But it's been pretty good. The 70 millimeter I had, okay, that's another thing I don't know if I talked about. I had a crash with my F104, and that one will be, I'll pull that one apart next week. But I had the biggest problem with that, and I'm sticking to it because I went through and pulled stuff apart and checked it. I used the X-Fly 100 amp ESC in my Freewing 70 millimeter F104. Had one amazing flight. I don't think I've posted it yet. I'll probably post it after this. But the flight was amazing. The thing flew awesome. A little bit of a bumpy landing. And then when I took off the next time, when I put the gear up, as soon as the gear went up, everything went out. And I lost control. And that's because I didn't have an external BEC. I was using the internal BEC. And it might have been from that little bit of a bumpy landing. But the landing gear were binding just a little bit. And it was enough to shut down the BEC on the internal BEC. I was able to duplicate it several times on the ground. Nothing had jammed in the crash because the plane's pretty weak, so it just kind of fell apart when it hit the ground. But just that little bit from that takeoff, and when I put the gear up, it was enough to drain, put too much of a strain on the BEC, and it shut it down, overamped it. So they've got a thermal shutdown and an overamp shutdown. If it goes overamps on the BEC will shut down. And then it takes however many seconds for it to come back. And they have over temp, it'll do the same thing. This was overamp on the BEC, so the BEC just shut down. And I didn't have nearly enough time to recover. So I didn't put a BEC in there, and it costs me the plane. Plane crashed in some little bits and pieces now. It could probably be repaired, but I'm not going to mess with it. Probably buy a new airframe and start over and do it the right way. But take the parts out and put them in there. But the I see questions, guys. I'll get them in a minute. So I plan on getting that. That was the X-Fly. The X-Fly worked amazing in that plane. That thing had a lot of thrust. And I was using a 30C 5000 pack. And I've used that same pack several times after that crash, and it's worked great too. So it wasn't the battery, something else. But William Hope, no, not attending Best in the West. Too far away. And I don't have turbines. It's kind of mayhem there anyway. I prefer not to fly at events like that. So let's see. There's Charles McDaniel said, that's a good question. I don't think upgrade the main gear on the Viper. I don't think you need to change them. If you did change them, I've seen people fly that same plane off of grass with no issues. I don't think you need to change the main gear. No issues. I've seen no issues so far. The only thing that I think would be a little bit of a problem would be possibly the wings, because the gears sit in the wings. Might be a little hard on the main wing if you're flying from grass, but I don't think you need to change the gear personally. But yeah, the plane has been awesome. Fred Barron, if I'd had more altitude and if it was a different plane, I think I could have gotten away with it. But the way that plane worked, it needed power constantly, or you had to keep the nose down. What I normally do is this. Don't mind all the wires. This is from the Mig-21, which has got a long fuse. But this thing has a 5 amp onboard BEC. Excuse me. 5 amp onboard BEC. I never trust onboard BECs because once you get up to having landing gear, flaps, and a gyro, you can reach 5 amps pretty easily. So what I'll normally do is I'll use a 10 amp ZTW. It says 10 amp peak, and it will do over 10 amps for sure. I've had these pull as many as 12 amps, but they don't cut out because they've got, you know, a lot. There's a little heat sink there. They don't get hot, and they can handle pretty much anything. And another thing I'll do, you're not always supposed to do this, but if I notice that the voltage and amperage are about the same, I'll leave this BEC active and run it together with a UVEC. That way, if they don't fight each other, which they tend not to on some setups, you'll never run out. You'll always have a BEC. So they're not supposed to shut out. A lot of people have said, oh, well, I've never had the onboard BEC on one of these die. And that's great. But every time that I have a crash, I can almost always trace it back to something going on here. And that's what happened in the last one. So I'm still going to use that BEC, I mean that ESC in another plane. I might even use it in the exact same plane. But I'm going to put a external BEC like I always do, just to make sure that if something goes wrong, I'll still have a way to get the plane down. Yeah, the externals are the way to go. That's really the only way to go. So yeah, Charles McDaniel, I don't think you should change the gear. I don't think you should change the gear at all. Leave it stock. If you have that plane, it flies amazing. I posted several videos so far of that plane. It is the best flying out of the box that I can actually remember. It's a really good flying plane. Yeah, and Best in the West is an awesome show if you just want to go see some really cool flying. If you want to fly yourself, that's not the place for you because you're going to have to wait in line. You're going to have to deal with three planes in the air at once. There's going to be some kind of mayhem, some kind of issue. If you just want to go see a lot of cool stuff, yes, Best in the West is a good place. It's a little hot, might be a little warm, but cool spot. But guys, I said I wasn't going to go too long, so I'm actually going to be heading on out. But I've got some stuff to do. I had my jumper box freaking out on me. The little cigarette lighter type thing fell apart, so positive and negative were touching. And I kept hearing this tick. I didn't know what the hell it was. I kept going tick dunk, tick dunk. I'm like, what the heck? It sounds like a blinker. It was a circuit breaker. Kept going like this and arcing and tripping the circuit breaker. Circuit breaker would keep tripping over and over and over and over and over. Finally able to shake it and get the wire to come apart. But I got to go work on that. And then I need to get ready for work tomorrow. But wanted to hang out with y'all for a little bit and talk about some stuff. And now that we're done, I'm gonna have to get going. I don't use a GoPro, but I know there are people that do. I was gonna get some onboard footage. Some people use these little small cube cameras or keychain cameras, which I've used, or the run cam, which I've used. But I haven't done any onboard stuff. I need to. I've been meaning to. But guys, again, I'm going to get going. But if you do want to support the channel, as a few people have this evening, which I very much appreciate, take a look at the ticker or take a look in the description. and it will show you guys how to do that if you want to, like, you know, either super chats or PayPal, or you can go check out some of my merchandise, which I was supposed to be wearing today and I forgot to put it back on. Um, Alan Gentry, yes, they are having a swap meet in Livermore this weekend. I might show up and sell some stuff. I have a brand new, out of box, but brand new Free Wing Kit Plus Mig-21 that needs to go. And I have a brand new, I think Alan, I think you even saw it fly. Not brand new, but barely used, in great shape. 8S powered Free Wing 90 millimeter Thunderbird that needs to go too. Ready to fly with batteries and receiver. Bind and fly. Whoa, Charles McDaniel, thank you, my friend. Very much appreciated. But I do have some planes for sale that I need to get rid of. So I will be, I don't know if I'm going to show up for that, though. We'll see. If I show up to Livermore, I usually like to fly, and I don't just want to bring stuff to sell. But I might, because I need to get rid of stuff. So a brand new 8S Free Wing Gooniac F-16 with a FMS power system. Under $500, bind and fly, ready to go with batteries. If anybody's in the area, y'all might want to take a look at it. It is a beautiful plane, flies amazing, and it's a gyro equipped ESC too. I mean, it has a gyro built in with the receiver. Paul Ballard, I'm asking. I was asking 500, but I'm probably going to go down. Problem is, I can't ship it, but it's going to be 475 is what I'm going to ask for it. 475. But anyway, I'll post that on Facebook. I'm gonna get going, and yeah, it would have to be shipped. I can't ship that thing because the wings are glued on. They can't even come off now. But anyway, what I can ship, however, I can find a way to ship that Mig-21. It needs, it's a kit plus, so you need all the ESC and other stuff, but it's a brand new plane. That is something that could be shipped. Anyway, I do too, Paul. Problem is, it wouldn't work for the plane in one piece. It'd have to be broken down, and I can't do it with that one. But I'm gonna get going, y'all. Thanks you guys for hanging out. Thank you very much for being here. But I gotta go. I'll see y'all later. All right. Bye-bye.